Hey there everyone, welcome back to GameVine, and my name is Dave, and today we're gonna get Maniacal. Let's do it. So as a disclaimer, this is a review copy from Eagle-Griffin Games. Thank you so much for your support, really do appreciate it. Now, this is a game that was once called Infamous, I'm pretty sure, or Infamy, but now it's called Maniacal, and you're trying to get infamy points. See, you are an evil villain, and you're basically trying to wreak havoc and take contracts and do all these silly missions, because man, the art and the humor is tongue-in-cheek, but I think it pulls it off pretty well. I don't want to get too much into it before my opinion. But the art, as you can see on this box, just check it out. This kind of reminds me of Umbrella Academy, now, which is not a bad thing at all. But the art really kind of brings you in from the start. And like I said, you're a villain. You'll be recruiting henchmen, and it's kind of got an aspect where you're making rooms, like in Boss Monster, and you're attracting different henchmen, and you're rolling dice. Oh man, you know how much I love rolling dice. And these dice. Okay, let me just show you the production of the game, then I'll give you my thoughts. Let's go. Alright, so I went handheld because this is a huge map, but these are the components in the box, and boy, they are magnificent. And these dice, you can't do much better. These are amazing pearlescent dice with perfect weight, smooth edges, and the paint job is decent. I don't think it's going to wear thin, and each one of these dice are corresponding to some of these henchmen, so some are going to be better than others. These green dice are just so amazing. You have these oversized cards with all the actual supervillains, the room cards, and then you have the contract oversized cards. All these are linen finish. Then you have the henchmen and scheme cards. These are for the solo variant. I'm not going to really go over that at the moment, but then you have the meeples and their little disc that I'm going to keep track of all the stuff, like the points and stuff. But these meeples are super cool, and you have Elsa. Look at her, she's super cool. And that's I think it's the flame guy. Yeah, he's my favorite. It's got to be this yellow piece. Isn't too bad. You know how I feel about yellow pieces, they're just too bright. But the board, as you can see, is really nice too. So the components, the cardboard components, are really nice as well. Everything, I mean, I don't expect anything less from Eagle-Griffin, but they knocked it out of the park, especially with these dice. I mean, look at them. Alright, they kind of look, those are like Dice Master fists. That's what they remind me of. Okay, now let's get on to the how-to portion of the video. Let's go. Alright, so this is game setup. Now there are optional things that you should do, but I think you should at least do the first one and give everybody their specific hero, and then you're going to have to correspond their lackey to them as well. The theme in this game, just love it. Now the other thing is optional, but it's still cool, and you're going to give everybody a final finale. Basically, this is their master plan, and if they have different things that they'll be able to complete, and most of that is triggered at the end of the game there. So now I have all the contracts out here, we have the henchmen, and then we have our attraction scores, and we have the secret rooms and bases. What you're doing in the game is trying to get the most infamy, and how you're getting that is fulfilling these contracts. But you gotta get the henchmen to your base and under your master villain's control in order to do so. And how do you do that? Well, you build actual rooms and or sell them to get money to build more rooms, and that's just the cycle it is. So it goes as follows: base building phase, henchman phase, contract phase, then cleanup, and then right back. And this goes on for 3 rounds. Now the time will tick away, and as you do stuff like contracts and get henchmen and build rooms, you'll be eating up this time, and you'll be going down on the track. Now there are 8 weeks in the first week, 10 in the second, and 12 in the third. Contracts eat up about 3 to 6, building rooms is about 1, and you can activate them as well and to do different things. So the building base phase is drafting. You give everybody 5 cards, and they're going to be able to make and or sell 3 different rooms, and then 2 of them are going to go away. Simply, you can just sell them for the cash right here, and that's right on every one of them, or you can actually buy them and use them for their action. This one here is draw 2 scheme cards, choose one to keep, and put the other on the bottom of the scheme deck. So each one's going to be different, and they're going to attract a different henchman. This one attracts the scientist, and this one takes up the beast and the mystic, and you'll be keeping track on the scale over here. And as you get henchmen, you'll have this one up here, and then you have to buy them for their amount up in the corner. And when you buy them for their amount, your marker goes back down, and then you flip over the next henchman there. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So again, you can pay for a room to be built in front of you, or you can sell them off to get more money. Everyone starts out with a set amount of cash. And then that's when we go to the henchman phase. This reminds me of Boss Monster a little bit, which is a good thing actually. So this is where everyone has their markers here, there, and they'll be taking their turns, depending on the player order, on getting the henchmen. And you can only possibly get 2 of each one here. So once you buy one, you'll flip over the next one, and you can buy that. And then the next person can buy of the criminals here. Now, as you can see, the anatomy, it costs 2 of the money bags to get 2 of the sneak dice. That's how many strength they had, and that corresponds with the dice. Now, on the contracts, you can't see them here, but it shows you how many henchmen that you'll have to assign to the base and what henchmen you have to do. So we can assign her and another of the criminals to this base, and then we will say, okay, we're going to attempt to do this contract, and there is success rates of 4 on here, and I'll be able to take as many dice as my strength of my henchmen are, which means we're on to the contract phase. So we'll be getting dice, and a success is the fist. Now the interesting thing is, if you get the icon here, that counts as 2 success. So different dice have different kind of blanks and punches, more punches on one side and more blanks, more successes on the blue dice. These dice are just so amazing. So you'll roll these, and you're trying to succeed, and the easier ones are going to be lower numbers, but these legendary ones, when you get there, are pretty hard as you get to a certain point. Yeah, that's like a 12. And once you succeed, if you were to succeed, you would read the flavor text and get the actual infamy points and tick yourself up that, and the money as well. So the city experienced a spike in newborn infants. You made a killing selling supervillain themed diapers and baby formula. So that's interesting. And if you fail, it tells you what you got to do down there. So once you fulfill a contract, you'll just reload it there. All the henchmen that you use will stay exhausted for this whole round, and then they'll flip over in the cleanup phase. Now, like I said, there are different things that you'll be doing, and it takes a certain amount of time. Activating rooms take 1. Contracts will take 3 to 4, depending on where the area is, corresponding to your supervillain. So I'm not going to go over the nitty-gritty details. There are scheme cards that everybody starts out with and can have a little bit of mitigation here. Increase the target value of your contract by 2, and that will, you'll play that on somebody and you'll get points as well. So you can be a jerk and get some points while doing it. As well, we have these mercenaries. Now, at the end of the round, you have to pay every one of your henchmen $1, and the mercenary will go back to the deck. He counts for more power, but every henchman that you don't pay $1 will get removed from the game permanently. And like I said, everyone has their own power. Start the game with 2 scheme cards and draw 1 at the start of the round. So he starts off with more scheme cards. She has strength. Active player, you may spend 1 week to gain $2. That's interesting. And we got this guy here. Looks like some kind of Goro. At the start of the game, the henchman phase gain 1 attraction point on any henchman track. So you can have those kind of things happen as well. But essentially, like I said, you do that for 3 different weeks. Well, 3 different rounds, and whoever has the most infamy points at the end of the game is the most maniacal. I almost forgot, you can also use your meeples, which are awesome by the way, as a henchman that you'll basically be putting down as a person on the contract. So you can have that as well. You'll have to exhaust them and then refresh them on the cleanup phase as well. So that's how you basically play the game. Now let me tell you what I think and give this game a grade. And that is how you play Maniacal, and this game gets an 87 from me. It gets the Game Vine Play It Award, absolutely. Does it get some of the bad things that I don't really like in the game, because there's not many, and then I'll get to all the good things. The one thing is, I feel like it may be just, let me see what it says it is. Yeah, it's a tad bit too long. I think if there was just a shorter aspect to the game, way to kind of streamline it, it would appeal to me and maybe others a little bit more. The solo game, I really wasn't feeling the solo game. It felt a little bit too fiddly and too tinkery for me, and I am a solo kind of connoisseur, so take that with, you know, some weight, because every one of these games I play multiple times, and normally it's solo. So I would, this time, I don't know, like the luck base and the way that the heroes interacted with my my villain, I don't know, it was, the dummy player, it was kind of weird. And speaking of that, I had to play a dummy player with 2 players, because me and my partner, we played the games most of the time, and that was fun. It was better than solo, but it was the best when we actually had 3 players all together playing. That's where it really shined. And the board has a huge footprint, so you're going to have a huge table or a space, and it's not the prettiest board. I would say that's the weakest when it comes to art in this whole package. But now let's get to the good things. I love the dice rolling, and the way that you can mitigate it by recruiting the henchmen, the flavor of the mechanism of recruiting henchmen by having the attraction, kind of like boss monsters, one of my favorite things. I can't help but compare it to that, but this is like that game on steroids. So you're not a boss monster, but you are an evil villain, and the theme is really good. I love reading the flavor text. They didn't need to do that, but they poured it in here. The art, that really brings this game up quite a bit for me, because I love theme and I love comics, and this one really hit on that. So if you know people who like comics and board games, well, this might be something you want to look at. And the replayability is decent. There's a ton of cards in here. I wish there was more villains. I didn't mention that they do have weaknesses, which is kind of cool and thematic, but hopefully this gets an expansion, because it's crying for one. It needs one. Once it gets an expansion, I think it will kind of round it out to make it maybe a 90% game for me. But right now it sits at a nice 87, which I think is solid. Who do I recommend this for overall? I think gamers. Beginning gamers, I think they could get this. It is really easy to kind of grasp once you know all the rules. It's just teaching them, this does this contract goes here, make sure you have these dice, they have these icons, so they won't really know what these dice are strengths in. So I think 1 or 2 times going around with this game would be good for a beginner. But even a gamer, they would have to go in trying to gain that knowledge, but they might have a little more experience doing so. So I would recommend this for the gamer in your life, but don't stray away if you're new to the hobby. This could be something like, if you're a comic book lover, that you would like to get. And thank you so much, Eagle-Griffin, for providing me with this review copy. Man, this is heavy. I'm gonna put this down. And until next time, thank you so much, Vine Nation, for stopping on by. My name is Dave, and click like and subscribe, and comment down below your favorite comic book. That'd be awesome. Until the next time, let's see you. Have a great rest of your day and a great time with all you play. My name is Dave. I'm out. Bye. Vine Nation, we love making content here for you on the channel, and we're almost at 10,000 subscribers, so subscribe now and help us out. This video right here, I think you'll like. This video right here, YouTube thinks you'll like. Or you can just sit here and watch me dance as a dinosaur for a little bit longer. You can visit us at our social media outlets, and we're going to be improving our Patreon here soon. That's all for today. Miko, it's time to go. Good girl, Miko.